What's up guys, my name is Delio, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about this new client, this insane sort of project, SM2. This has been going around the internet for the past couple years of essentially a modified version of Modern Warfare 2 that is essentially in essence a whole new Call of Duty game made by the community for the community. Well, there has been some news today that is pretty massive. Some people may not understand why this is such a big deal, but this is a big deal and I basically just wanted to cover this. As of recent, I wanted to basically talk about this whole project, but this is one of those things where it's just modding has gone insane within the past couple years. Okay, so here's the SM2 website, the ultimate Call of Duty experience, designed to put you in control of how you play. So essentially the news that just released today, this is some big stuff. So it's dev blog number 4, the future of SM2. We need to talk. We wanted to start this year strong with video showcase of every single weapon, which we decided to premiere on the first day of 2023. Since then, we've seen and heard people craving for more information and news from us, and today's that day. However, everything you're about to read may not be what you expected. Don't worry, we're not closing shop. This post will explain why we've remained almost silent for the past few months, as we took, without the shadow of a doubt, the biggest decision we've ever had to make. This is a big deal. We have decided to move on from IW4, which is the original Modern Warfare 2 engine, to H1, the MWR Modern Warfare Remastered engine, for technical reasons. Why is this a big deal? Well, the MWR engine is superior to IW4 in pretty much every way, and it's essentially just what that engine was, just built up upon over the past few years and reworked, and it just gives the developers much more possibilities on how they can essentially, add features to their game. They are less limited because of that engine swap. We know, it's confusing. You might start asking millions of questions right now, and this is what this dev blog is about. We will take the tour and explain to our best ability why this change had to be made and what consequences it might have in the near future. We also want to point out this is not a decision we've taken lightly. We've discussed the potential of the H1 engine quite a lot within the past few months, but ended up clinging to what we had at the time. Now that our backs are pretty much against the wall, we had to make the move. Either that or end the project altogether. We want to make it clear that this engine change will not impact the experience and gameplay itself. I mean, let's be real, the engine differences aren't that big gameplay wise, it's mainly just graphics and other possibilities. They play pretty similar, I'm gonna be completely honest. Project's goal has always been to provide original and true to its roots Call of Duty experience. And this is not changing. We're still standing very true to our original vision and to what the game is meant to be for both you and us. The real problem with them developing everything on IW4 is the fact that this engine is 14 years old. That's kind of a big deal because, as you guys know, things have kind of progressed a lot within the past 6 to 10 years around there when they switched to more modern systems with the Xbox One and the PS4. It basically unlocked a bunch of potential. So because of that, they had to basically jump through hoops and just basically re-implement features that were included in, say, H1 that weren't in, IW4. So things like, the attachment system, memory management, all that stuff, they had to completely basically copy what the newer games are doing and rewrite it into this engine, which is just time consuming and unnecessarily, it's just too much work for too little results. So it's actually that. So like I said, memory and RAM usage. The game can only allocate 4 gigabytes of RAM, which, like I said, caused problems and limited what they could do. So simply making that change is a big deal. They had issues with basically image streaming tech, which helped sort of reduce the RAM usage, but it still wasn't enough. So switching to this is a big improvement as well. As you guys may not know, in the older games, adding animated camos and other things like that weren't as easy, and it just took up more resources. So you had to add a custom shader in order to have animated camos. It's not very practical. The UI engine, MW2 was based on Quake's old menu system. That's just not gonna fly. So they had to obviously switch to much more newer game ones. Some other sort of advantages of the engine swap as well is the ability to basically port over any map that you want. It could be more complex maps, it can be simpler maps. they have more variety in what they can actually do. And I also think that with this decision, it would actually be pretty beneficial for other Modern Warfare Remastered H1 modding in the future. I could see a ton of sort of new projects being focused on the newer games instead of, games like Modern Warfare 2 or COD 4 or World at War all the way back then. And a kind of a big sort of contention with this sort of change, which I can see kind of being a quote-unquote issue, even though I don't even think it's going to be an issue, is the essentially performance you need to get this game up and running. Because, let's be honest, not everyone has a super high-end PC, so obviously this is kind of a big deal. But I want to make it clear, Modern Warfare Remastered is not a super intensive game. My computer, it's a good computer, I'll be honest. 3900X, 3080, pretty decent specs. But even when I was back on like a 1660 Ti or something like that, and like an old Ryzen system, I could get like 240 FPS pretty much maxed out on this game. So with Modern Warfare Remastered, it really doesn't matter. The performance of that engine is really good, and even like I've loaded it on my Steam Deck and it runs at like 120 plus FPS. So I don't think that this is going to be a big deal. Sure, it's a little bit more intensive than, like Modern Warfare 2, but it still runs fantastic. And I think this just in general, it's just a smart decision, okay? And they also want to make sure that they modify this engine in a way that still feels like the original Modern Warfare 2/SM2 experience. They want to make this as faithful as possible. And I think that's pretty important because, still, in my personal opinion, I think that the games feel very similar. Like between, like Modern Warfare Remastered, COD 4, they all feel very similar. They have a lot of similar mechanics, but obviously the newer games just feel less janky. But hey, it is what it is. So you're also probably wondering, why didn't they make this decision initially? That's a pretty logical question to ask. But I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Modern Warfare 2 engine, they say it themselves, they just know how things work. They were using that to essentially just modify that game because they're just so used to doing that. Modern Warfare 2 has like years and years and years of documentation, basically to the point where like the game doesn't even really matter at this point. They can literally just modify the whole game and make a completely different game out of it. But it wasn't up until like recently where Modern Warfare Remastered H1 was actually able to be modified. And that's because of super talented developers, finally learning how to do stuff on new games with unofficial support, which is it's super impressive to me. And also, this may be a problem as well, as you guys know. You had to buy Modern Warfare 2 to actually play this game. Essentially, they say that they're going to be like having in-game rewards for you buying that. Or you can actually do this. If you haven't played Modern Warfare 2 on PC and you just bought it on Steam, and you've never played it at all, I'm pretty sure you can just ask for a refund on Steam. Like, as long as you don't have, if you have below, a certain amount of playtime, you should be able to get the refund. But I'm pretty sure they'll work it out. And I know on the surface this may seem like a bad idea on their end to basically for years be in development with this game on a certain engine, then just switching over, having to essentially, I don't know how the development process works and how they're actually going forward with this and how their workflow is, but they could start completely over, which is kind of a problem. But with, H1, I'm pretty sure things will probably go faster considering that they have less workarounds to deal with. We'll see how it goes. I am pretty excited for the future of this. I think it's a really smart choice to actually do this. They feel pretty similar. There's just a world of different possibilities they can do now. Pretty awesome. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, and you want to see some other content on the channel, if you want to see a more in-depth version of what this client is all about, I'll probably make another video about this in the future. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you all have a great day, and peace out.